Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. The lunch rush had just faded, and a soft hush settled over the little roadside diner. Sunlight streamed through the wide glass windows, catching dust specks that danced like tiny stars in golden beams. It should have been an ordinary afternoon. But for a woman named Clara Monroe, a hard-working single mother with tired eyes and a hopeful smile, this was the day her life would change forever. She didn't know it yet. A decision she made in just a few minutes would cost her everything, and then give her back more than she ever dreamed possible. Before we dive into this story of kindness, sacrifice, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. If you believe the world needs more compassion, your support helps spread stories that bring hope where it's needed most. The diner wasn't anything fancy. The floors were worn from decades of footsteps, the red leather booths patched with tape, and the coffee was strong enough to wake the sleepiest trucker. But for Clara, it wasn't just a diner. It was survival. After her husband walked out years ago, she had taken every shift she could, balancing long hours at the diner with raising her 10-year-old son, Micah. Every tip meant food on the table. Every paycheck meant keeping the lights on. That day, the bell above the door jingled, and in walked a group that instantly drew every eye in the room. The Hells Angels. Leather jackets, heavy boot, tattoos telling stories of roads traveled and battles fought. The air shifted. Customers lowered their voices. A nervous hush swept through the diner as the group filled two booths at the back. Some stared. Others quickly looked away. Behind the counter, the manager, Mr. Peterson, stiffened. Whispers rippled. "Don't serve them," muttered a man at the counter. Another customer tossed change on the table and hurried out. Clara felt her heart race. She had heard the rumors about the notorious biker gang. But as she glanced over, she saw something unexpected. They weren't sneering. They weren't loud. They looked tired, dusty from the road, and hungry. One even slid a chair over so an older member could sit comfortably. While the rest of the staff froze, Clara tied her apron tighter, grabbed her notepad, and walked over. Her hands trembled, but she forced a smile. "What can I get you today?" she asked softly. To her surprise, the bikers treated her with respect. They said please and thank you. They cracked jokes. One even complimented the pie in the display case. Clara served them like she served everyone, warm, kind, attentive. She slipped in extra bread without charging, refilled coffees before they asked. To her, they weren't dangerous. They were people in need of a hot meal. But when she returned to the counter, Mr. Peterson's face was red with fury. He pulled her aside, hissing, "Clara, what are you doing? Do you know who they are? You'll drive away the rest of the customers. This diner has a reputation to protect." Clara tried to explain. They were polite, they deserved kindness. But Peterson didn't want to hear it. By the time the bikers left, leaving a generous tip on the table, Clara's fate was sealed. That evening, after the last table was cleared and the chairs flipped onto the tables, Mr. Peterson handed her a thin envelope. "You're done here," he said coldly. "I can't have someone who disobeys orders and puts this diner at risk. You're fired." Clara froze. Fired for being kind. Fired for doing her job. She tried to plead, but he turned away. Her chest tightened as she thought of Micah waiting at home, probably doing homework, expecting dinner. No job meant no rent. No job meant empty cupboards. The walk home that night was heavy, every step echoing the question, "Did I do the right thing?" The next morning, Clara woke with swollen eyes but plastered on a brave face for her son. She made him cereal with the last of the milk and promised she'd figure things out. Inside, though, fear gnawed at her. Who would hire her now? How would she explain being fired for showing kindness? By midday, a low rumble of engines rolled down her street. Neighbors peeked from windows. Clara stepped onto her porch, and her heart nearly stopped. A line of motorcycles stretched down the block, chrome gleaming in the sunlight. At the front stood the very same group of Hell's Angels she had served. For a moment, panic flickered. But then one stepped forward, holding a bouquet of wildflowers. Another carried grocery bags filled with food. Their leader, a tall man with weathered features named Hawk, spoke in a voice strong yet gentle. They had heard what happened. That Clara had lost her job simply for treating them with respect. That ain't right, Hawk said firmly. Kindness should never cost you everything. One by one, the bikers set down bags of groceries, fresh vegetables, bread, even a box of school supplies for Micah. Then Hawk handed Clara an envelope. Inside was more money than she could have earned in months at the diner. Clara's hands shook, tears filling her eyes. Why are you doing this?" she whispered. Hawk met her gaze. "Because yesterday you gave us respect when no one else would. You saw us as people, not monsters. That kind of heart deserves to be protected." Word spread quickly. First through the neighborhood, then the town, then beyond. Headlines read, "Waitress fired for serving bikers." Then they came back to save her. Strangers reached out with job offers, donations, messages of encouragement. Clara found herself at the center of something bigger than she could have imagined, a reminder that kindness ripples outward, touching lives far beyond our own. Eventually, Clara accepted a new job at a family-owned cafe where her kindness was celebrated, not punished. Customers came not just for the food, but to meet the woman who had dared to serve the Hells Angels with a smile. At home, when she tucked Micah into bed, she reminded him of the lesson she had learned. No matter what the world says, kindness is never wasted. Sometimes it just takes time for it to come back to you. If this story of courage, kindness, and unexpected friendship touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to channel because the world changes one small act of compassion at a time.